guys? The Bench Buddies are back with our last weekly power rankings for the NFL this year until the playoffs. And, we're ranking all 32 teams here for one last time until we do our preseason next year. But we're going to get right into it here. And we got Ethan. What's happening with the Jaguars?
I'll start us off. The Jaguars are kind of in turmoil right now. Another huge loss to the Patriots. But the thing is, Jags beat the Colts this week. A lot of things could shake up in the playoffs. So a good way to end the season will be with a victory this week for the Jags.
31st, we got the Giants. And every week it just seems like Daniel Jones actually isn't the problem. He gets a lot of hate because he's on the Giants and, he doesn't have the best performances. Well, look what they're putting out there now. When they put out Mike Glennon, Jake Fromm, doesn't even matter who they put out there. They can barely score. And you got to give Daniel Jones credit that he actually puts them in a position to win. But having Kenny Galladay, who's out the whole year, Slayton, who's injury prone, Tony, injury prone. When all your receivers are pretty much done for the year, it seems like you really don't have a shot. So the Giants are going to look to rebuild for next year.
And at 30, we got the Detroit Lions. Kind of a stud they found in Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's looking like he's leading. He's been getting a lot of targets the last few games, increasing in every game. So that's a fantasy guy for next year. But with the Lions, 2-13 now, 2-13-1 now. They're really just looking for next year, obviously, and got to get that draft. They got to find that next best player in the draft this year.
At 29th, we got the Panthers, who, my goodness, what's there to say good about this franchise? Quarterback situation has been a problem ever since prime Cam Newton left. And they bring in Matt Rule, who's supposed to be the guy, and he really hasn't done anything in the first 2 years. He's definitely going to be on the hot seat if he isn't fired this year going into next year. But, the Panthers, they do have Gilmore. They traded for him, traded the picks, and didn't really turn out how they thought it would. So it's going to be a long offseason for the Panthers.
At number 28, a little bit better than what we thought they were going to be, the Houston Texans. As you said at the beginning of the year, I think we both had them winning, one game, maybe 0 games. But here they are going into week 18 with 4 wins. This week they got the Titans, and they could really mess up the 1 seed, which is what they could. It's definitely possible. It's not likely, but especially with Derrick Henry coming back. But, they do have something to play for, and it says something about the Texans organization and their coaches for next year.
27th, we got the New York Jets, and they got Tom Brady yet again. They were up big. I believe they were up 10 in the fourth quarter, 24-14, and they just couldn't get anything going on offense. The Bucs defense stood up, and, Tom Brady did a Tom Brady. But, this week they got a challenge going against the Bills and looking to ruin some playoff seeding, mix it up a little bit. And, in Buffalo is a tough place to win, but Jets have nothing to lose. They're going to go all out, make some chaos for the playoffs. Should be a good game, because Bills are already locked in, I believe.
Yes, they are. They are locked in.
But, who knows? They may not play all their starters the whole game just because it could be crappy weather. You don't want injury risk there. But for the Jets' credit, I think Zach Wilson is their guy. And I think evaluating him through, I think his 8 games that he's played, it's pretty good.
Yep, I'm with you there. Next, we got the Washington football team. Play a little bit better this week than they did against the Cowboys, but still, they need to get a quarterback to win the league. And they also, did you hear they're getting a new team name? They're announcing it soon. So we're going to stop calling them the football team soon. But they're just not a very good football team now. Win for next year.
Yeah.
They still got a great defense.
They also need some new bleachers as well so the fans don't fall on the field and on the players.
Yeah. I'm kidding.
But at 25, we got the Chicago Bears. I believe I saw the stat where Andy Dalton won Week 16, Nick Foles won Week 17, And I think if Fields wins this week, it'll be the first time ever that a team would win 3 games in a row with 3 different quarterbacks. And I think, they have a real shot here. You know, 7-10, I think, is kind of where we thought the Bears would be, in all honesty.
Around here. Yeah.
We knew Matt Nagy was going to have another letdown, disappointing season, as it seems to happen after that double doink. It just seems like nothing has gone the Bears' way. But to their credit, I think Fields is a work in progress. And if you can bring in an offensive guru, I think Fields is going to thrive in the NFL.
Next, we got the Seattle Seahawks. Offensive explosion for Russ in his last home game, hopefully with the Seahawks. He should definitely be on the free agent market after this year. I mean, Seattle wants to keep him, but I think if you're Russell Wilson, you want to get out of there. Hasn't got a lot of protection throughout the years. Ever since that prime defense, that legacy of Boom, they really haven't had a great defense. But 6-10, if they win this week against the Cardinals, which they could, 7-10, which really shows you what Russell Wilson can do at the end of the year.
23rd, we got the Cleveland Browns, who you were at the game. They really didn't get anything going, really. They got lucky. They're 14. It seems like the Steelers just gave them the good field position, and it was easier for them to score. And other than a long Nick Chubb run, there was really nothing to be excited about. We were talking before the video. Baker was playing good in his first game. He had great numbers against, the Chiefs, defending AFC champions. Almost won that game. And then second game, he throws a pick, has to go tackle Eric Reid, throws his shoulder out, and he hasn't been the same since. And if you look at the stats last year, Baker was balling. His last 8 games, he was balling. Obviously led him to a playoff victory, first playoff victory in, I think, forever for the Browns. And I really think he doesn't get enough credit of a good quarterback he is. I am on the good quarterback side of Baker. And playing injured is never tough, but he should have just got that surgery right away. Because you can always heal up fast, and who knows, maybe the Browns would have had a better pick or even a better record if he just decided to get the surgery. But I think it's definitely going to be interesting moving forward for this franchise, and to seeing what they're going to do, not only with Baker, but with the running backs, wide receivers, and the whole defense. They got lots of money, I believe, going in all different places, and we're going to see what they're going to do.
22, we got the Atlanta Falcons. They hung with the Bills a little bit in the first half in that snowy Buffalo. So pretty impressive. I think they are knocked out of the playoffs now, so not much to play for anymore. Looking for the future. Matt Ryan still has not been doing horrible, but you still need a new guy there. And really just looking for next year. Maybe knock out the Saints out of the playoffs for this year.
21st, we got the Broncos, who got pretty much embarrassed last week against Justin Herbert and the Chargers, and they're officially out of the playoffs as well. But, they can play some spoiler here, prevent the Chiefs from getting the 1 seed. That's all I got left to play for. But, once Teddy Bridgewater went down with that scary injury, this team has never been the same. I believe they've lost every game since, and I think they're going to lose another one this week as well.
And here, number 20, we got the Saints. They are actually still in contention. They need a Falcon. They need to beat the Falcons, and then they need the Rams to beat the Niners. So very real shot. Definitely could happen. Surprisingly for the Saints, I mean, 9-8. If they win this game, 9-8 without a real quarterback is pretty impressive. I think that's a lot better than what we thought. And when they get their quarterback, they're going to be a dangerous team, especially, I mean, whenever we know if Michael Thomas can play again, he's going to be a good receiver too. So scary team.
Defense is super scary as well. They came out of late. And 19th, we got the Vikings, got embarrassed by Aaron Rodgers, potentially in his last regular season home game. Going into the game against the Bears, I think this is more of a, let's go out, have fun, ball out, and see if we can win, because both teams aren't playing for anything. And I think, it's going to be a high scoring affair, but I think the Vikings should win this one, and Justin Jefferson's going to have a great game against the Bears' weak secondary.
Here at 18, the Dolphins, now they're officially eliminated as well from the playoffs. They did have a good 7-game winning streak, and they got some part. The defense has been a lot better, but man, that game against the Titans was ugly. And if you really look back at the schedule, the Dolphins only been playing bottom tier teams in their 7 wins. So a little bit worse than we thought they were, dropping down 5 spots, but this is about the right spot. Probably not going to beat the Patriots next week either.
17th, we got the Ravens going against your Steelers this week. Big game for your Steelers. And, the Ravens, they're already out of it. And it's kind of crazy to think about that just a month ago, this team was the favorite to win the AFC North. And boom, Lamar gets hurt, twists his ankle. Tyler Huntley, though, still being a great quarterback. Like he did his job coming in on short notice. They just couldn't get it done. And as you see last week, they only lost by 1 to the Rams. And they've had some close games, just couldn't get it done. But I think to their credit, I think they can beat the Steelers this week. But it's definitely going to be a slugfest nonetheless in the AFC North.
And here at number 16, we got my Pittsburgh Steelers. Great win. The offensive line for the Browns really couldn't hold TJ Watt and the boys, having 9 sacks. I was at that game, and it was a great experience, but the Steelers just need to win against the Ravens, and the Jaguars need to beat the Colts, and they'll be in the playoffs. And kind of a weird thing for the Steelers, because a lot of people wouldn't think that. And just shows Mike Tomlin never has a losing season. He's one of the best coaches in the NFL.
15th, we got the Philadelphia Eagles coming off a sluggish win against Washington to solidify them a playoff spot, I believe. We got Cowboys week 18. This is more of a seeding game for both teams because we already know Dallas won the division. So nothing really for Philly to win the division, just to see who they want to play next week. And at home, obviously, is a huge advantage in week 18. Yeah. So I honestly don't know who to pick for this game, but I'm just happy that, Jalen Hurts is finally getting some recognition on being a great quarterback. He coming in the league, he was never the guy. Oh, he's not going to be a good pro quarterback. And this year he's really proved all those doubters wrong.
Here at 14, we got the Fighting Raiders. I mean, I'm kind of rooting for them here. The Raiders versus Chargers playing on Sunday Night Football. Quinny, you were talking about how this is like your team earlier in the year. You thought they were making the playoffs and everything, and now here they are. All they got to do is beat the Chargers.
Yeah, well, I hope it doesn't happen because we're going for the Chargers.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a good game for sure. Derek Carr, ever since that win against, I don't remember who they were playing, but he said that they weren't done yet. A lot of people are counting them out, and won 3 straight ever since, and now they have a shot to make the playoffs. Pretty impressive for him.
13, we got the Chargers, who I think are going to win that game. And 1, because I got Keenan Allen and Herbert in my championship this week for fantasy. So I need them to have a great game. But 2, I just think that the Chargers have more to lose here than the Raiders. The Raiders story is we lose guys left and right. Our coach resigns. Players, are in jail, getting tickets, like really bad for the Raiders. But somehow they're still 9-7. Miraculous story. It's definitely gonna be a story that 30 for 30 soon. And now you got the Chargers who are looking to clinch their first playoff spot, and feels like forever. It seems like they're always in this position right there, and then it gets snatched away from them at the last second. And in Herbert's second year, I think he can be that guy and finally lead them to their first playoff appearance in a while.
Here at number 12, we have the Indianapolis Colts. Kind of a rough loss to the Raiders last week. That was big. They could have won that game, and they could be sitting here with the number 5 seed, but unfortunately not. But all they really have to do is still just beat the Jags at home or on the road. So a little bit more difficult, but one of the worst teams in football. Colts are one of the better teams in football, obviously. So just got to pound the rock and beat the Jags, and they'll be in the playoffs.
11th, we got the 49ers, who drop a spot after beating the Texans, the Texans, they were up 7-3 at half. Let's just put it that way. And, the Chargers obviously, or the 49ers obviously scored 20 unanswered in the second half. But, losing to the Texans when you're a game away from the playoffs at half, that definitely shook up the locker room and motivated them, obviously, in the second half. But I give Trey Lance some credit. He was adjusting. He hasn't played since, week 4, it seems like. And second half, he really showed that he could, hang and play. But now you got the Rams in LA. Going to be a great game. You were talking about they lose, Saints win, 49ers are out. So
Yeah.
definitely a must-win game for these 49ers.
You're cracking our top 10. We got the Arizona Cardinals, and kind of proved us wrong last week. We were talking how the Cowboys were obviously going to beat them, and I mean, obviously going to be a good game, but we're talking about how Cliff Kingsbury was all this, not a great coach, but they did get a win. I'm not there saying he's a great coach already, but that is a big win. And if they can get another win, they could win the division. And I think the Rams have to lose, but they could win this division still and get a home playoff game, get D-Hop back. They're still a dangerous team this year. So number 10 is a good spot.
Going in at 9, we got the Patriots. Took a step back the week before, and then last week took a huge step forward. I know they obliterated the worst team in football, but I think you've got to, if you're analyzing this game, you got to look at Mac Jones and him finally throwing the ball downfield. Obviously they were up a lot, so they got a little more aggressive, but he really showed that he can have that deep throw and medium pass as well. And week 18 against the Dolphins, this team's already in, but we're going to see what they're going to game plan this week. If they're going to just run the ball heavy like they always do, or if they're going to open up the playbook a little bit more for Mac Jones.
And coming at number 8, kind of a disappointing loss for the Cowboys. A lot of people were saying they're in the top 5, and we had them in the top 5 last week at number 4, but now they're dropping down to number 8. And it's just because their offense looked like they had some problems against the Cowboys or against the Cardinals. And that's basically it. I mean, Dak, he can be a little bit inconsistent sometimes, but they got the weapons. They're still a really good team, but I don't really see them as winning the Super Bowl anymore.
At 7, we got the Buffalo Bills. Kind of a ugly win. I know it's, a 14-point win, but it was kind of an ugly win for these Bills. And the task just gets easier this week going against the Jets before you go into the playoffs. But you never know. They could get upset here and the Patriots win and they win the division. So they do have a lot to play for here, but it is one of the easier games on their schedule this year to win. And I think Josh Allen and company are going to do so.
And at number 6, we got the Ja'Marr Chase and the Joe Burrows. So Ja'Marr Chase just broke Justin Jefferson's rookie receiving record, which is pretty cool for him. Congratulations, Not a big fan of the Bengals just because I'm a Steelers fan, but that was an impressive win against the Chiefs. As you can see, we only brought them up to 6. We didn't think they were better than the Chiefs just because they beat the Chiefs, but still a great team. They do have a hole with their offensive line, and their defense isn't great, but they have been playing good. So, Joe Burrow and Ja'Marr Chase have just been saving them, and it's a good football team.
Coming in at 5, we got the Tennessee Titans, who absolutely ruined Miami's season, not just in a calm, collected way, but just destroying all hope. And they've pulled off this 1 seed right now in the AFC without Derrick Henry. And that has really shown that, okay, this team is for real. That defense has stepped up major, and Tannehill, filling in the void of spreading the ball around and not just getting dependent on the run. But once we talk about the run, you got to bring up all the guys, McNichols, Foreman, Hillard. They've all stepped in and just, next man up mentality. And I think that's what's made this Titans team so good this year is they're playing pretty selfless ball. And, got the Texans this week. Should be a win, but it's always a trip up, it seems like, here these last few weeks, teams that have played in the Texans. But they win, and they're the 1 seed.
And here at number 4, we got the Rams. Matt Stafford was playing some rough football the last few first half games, but when it's important, he He really stepped up for his team and gets the win. So I think that's really shown how good this Rams team is. I think it's more impressive that they're winning close games right now. And I think they're going to win another close one against the Niners and end up being 13-4 going into the playoffs, and going to be a really solid team.
Coming in at 3, we got the Tampa Bay Bucks. Tom Brady pulled another Tom Brady, come from behind victory down 10 in the fourth quarter. I mean, but before we talk about this game, we got to talk the Antonio Brown situation. I'm kind of on AB's side here, the ankle injury, but then again, why are you jumping in the end zone as you're running off the field if your ankle hurts? So I can see both sides to these stories here. So I'm not going to, go into detail and overanalyze these two, but we're talking about who's still on this team. Mike Evans has got to be the guy moving forward. Without Chris Godwin, without AB now, who knows? That's in question mark. Who's your next receiver? Tyler Johnson, who's played maybe 2 games, started 2 games, Scotty Miller. And it's going to come down to all the tight ends, Cameron Brate, Rob Gronkowski, OJ Howard. It's going to be those guys that are going to have to step up in the big way for Brady. But they do get Leonard Fournette back, hopefully, for week 1 of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And, they got the Panthers this week. I don't think they're going to, do anything too crazy, keep it simple. But they do need to win, to keep that, I believe, number 2 seed right now. So definitely should win this game and move to finish the season 13-4.
And just missing out on number 1, we got the Chiefs. Just a tough loss to the Bengals. That could have gone either way. Just seeing them compete shows me that the Chiefs are a really good football team still, and not worried about them. I think they should be the clear-cut AFC favorite going to the playoffs. Even if they don't get home seed, Titans definitely could be. That Titans are definitely the number 1 contender, but Chiefs are the best team in the AFC, in my point of view.
Number 1, we got my Packers with no bias. They've really just been the best team in football, and we saw it last week, a 37-10 victory blowout on Sunday Night Football. I mean, that game was over at halftime, and we all knew it. But they have been playing some mediocre and got lucky against quarterbacks, the last few weeks. But hey, you still got to go in and win those games to, get to this 1 seed and wrap it up. So this week, I expect Rodgers, Jones, Adams, all their top guys to play maybe a quarter, maybe just a little tune-up against the Lions. And I think, Love will play in this game, obviously, but Love is going to have, some good experience going in the playoffs, in case something were to happen to Rodgers. And it's all about your backups, as we saw a few years ago or last year when the Chiefs, beat the Browns and Chad Henne had to come in for Mahomes. And it really shows that it does matter having a good backup. So definitely something to monitor here. If you're liking depth and you're a good football guy, definitely watch the second half of this Packers game. But to their credit, all respect aside, Packers are the best team as they look to, finally get past the NFC Championship. And Ethan, that's it for our video today.
And that'll wrap it up. Make sure you guys leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. But until next time, Bench Buddies are out. Peace.
She never called back.